It's almost actually unreal, I feel like, at this point, that we're getting so much in a chapter at the beginning of an arc. And it's stuff that is expansive off of already pre-existing things in this series, which is really interesting. And I think everything that we got in this chapter was building onto just pretty much things that for the most part we already had. I don't think we really had anything that was for the most part like kind of out of nowhere. I know people bring up the whole bit with Ferris near the end, but I'll go into why I would consider that not as much as like a big shocker of capability and big shocker of the fact that she is dating these demons, as well as what that actually means for the series. Because I got to be honest, there's a lot. There's a lot that we can talk about just from the last 2 to 3 chapters. And this chapter, like, there's like 4 or 5 conversations picture alone. No, it's the best way. I got to figure out. I actually was messing with my camera, and I kind of like how I can put up a panel on the second monitor, because then I can bring up, kind of like throw it this way. I know I can have it on window. I'll probably do that, but I feel like it's just I like the fact that when I show it, I can that I have to fiddle with it on there. I'll end up trying to perfect this. Like once I get eventually full setup again instead of kind of pseudo setup, I'll have maybe something that's better, or I'll figure something out. We may just stay with this cracked version. Who knows? But there's there's a lot to unpack after. Like the beginning was exactly what I feel like people hoping for with the cliffhanger we got. We got the dragon gods getting back up. Two of them obviously that were dead are now revived. We've got Alderaan. Viernes back. Viernes is really cool because the fact that we're going to be able to have this dude hopefully redeem himself. And like, I really liked his design. I liked a lot of the concepts and idea and the world building that went. Viernes, it's just his fight was short, and not only was it short, we really didn't see a lot about him. I think the point of that was Mishima wanted to get to this arc and figured, oh, I'll just kind of like have it go through just showing the general capabilities, showing Natsu boosted off everybody plus this other boost. Okay, well, he needs all of these people in order to beat a Dragon God in a straight fight. Because when you look at the fights individually, you have the Mercphobia fight where Merc was not at his full state, both power and faculties, as well yeah, and pretty much the strongest state that we've ever seen Natsu. With Alderaan, Alderaan was weakened from his God seats being down, and Natsu time for her to come back up. Selene, they didn't beat Selene. Dogromag was the weakest dragon god, so Natsu's mind are at that bar of entry in a dragon god level. With them in a unison raid, it's still a lot. Like, it's not like just they're able to kind of casually roll. It just kind of shows where they're at individually. If half of them, not necessarily half because it's raid, it's fusion, it's not. It still obviously gives a general idea of their power if 2 people at that level can achieve that. But that's just more of a, you can kind of go into obviously how a unison raid works. I would imagine though that just the fact that Natsu and Suzaku, the fact that they do vibe and they do clearly get along, or mindsets of how they kind of look at their guild and the members of their guild, it makes sense of why they would be able to do a unison raid relatively pretty easily. Obviously, when you include stuff like their skill and capabilities. I'm trying to figure out a way to this. Got a thing of queso here. Let me try and put this right here and see if it helps. I eventually got to find a new pin to put it. Only just thing fell out and I lost it, and then it wants rehand. But as it were, there's just kind of a mass amount of unloaded and like I said with Viernes, I really want to see where his fight just goes. Where he as a character is going to go, because I don't think we need to see as much like with Alderaan and Viernes. I want to see more of them just kind of like giving us, especially once we see the Dragon Gods communicating with each other, or any characters that they would be obviously not in opposition with, and see how are they doing mentally? Are they all just going to be kind of rampaging, or are they all going to be thinks? Are they going to regain their sanity at some? What exactly is up with that? Because I feel like it's very clear that the whole like extra shading around the eyes shows that they're not in cognitive awareness. Like I would assume they're all just kind of like rampaging, but not as like a bloodthirst, more of just again exuding your presence and your power. Like I would imagine like if Alderaan getting up, if he wanted to like say like kill everybody in the area immediately, literally could just jump up once. So you literally just do like a little bunny hop, the shockwave would kill all those people around. But the dragon gods, as they're shown here, and it's like it's really hard because I'm trying to figure out like how to present it, and like you can see me just at points like thinking about this chapter. I'm just gonna kind of pause for a second because there's so many things that happened, and it's like trying to really kind of direct which one I want to talk about is really hard. Because like just from the fact that like it started out of showing Dogromag, or sorry, not Drog, which is another thing to talk about because the question is, is Dogromag gonna come back? We got Viernez coming back to life. We've got Alderaan coming back to life, and Viernez needs to get again. He needs to redeem himself with a fight just because he got kind of ran over, and I think it was because Machinima was doing this. Like obviously, it was what happening right now. Why he didn't want to have a really long fight with Viernez because Viernez wasn't at full power. He never really actually got to fight because obviously with Theta, with Catalyst used physical form, was able to aid main characters in beating him, and now we're going to be able to hopefully see what he's going to be doing now in this series. It's like I'm trying to think again how to word it because I wonder what's going to keep him from just going back into being an idea and getting rid of his physical body. I wonder if there's going to be something about it, like while he's in the state he's not going to think about it. Maybe all his other alchemy is just going to be instinctual or reflexive. I don't know. Stuff like that is going to make me really curious, and that's really coming because with Merc, it wasn't just that Merc was lowered on power before, also he wasn't in his right state of mind, so it seemed like he was fighting his intelligence, somebody who mastered a free form thing like water, and okay, well, whenever he gets mind back and powers are in, but now he's kind of fighting also not at his full state of mind. That's why I'm wondering what it's. Oh yeah, instead of being a rampaging monster, it's going to be more just going off of your instinctual capability. Because like, you got to keep in mind too, these guys are all masters of their attributes, centuries old that they've been using. Because it also comes naturally, just in general utilization in their race. Like it's something that's designed in there. But with that, it's the fact that every single thing with the Dragon Gods right is a point of activity. Like with Drasil. What's going to go on with those Drasil remnant people? Are they just going to die? Or is Alderaan going to come try and finish the job and just complete them? Viernez is doing give up his body? Is he going to make some new people? I really like the idea of Viernez going into. I like that Viernez can make essentially anybody just like knowledge and information of them, and it's cool the idea where he could be like, bam, another Hades, bam, another Margir, bam, here's an Aragorn, here's 10 zeros. I like the idea that he could just make a replica of a character we've already seen, but I really want to see him go to the extent that his power could be, because it's cool from a reader standpoint, like seeing again these characters come out, but from a standpoint of his power, it could do that also in a lot of ways. Like if he just kind of like imagine Rufus. If you watch the anime, there's like an extra bit where it's like Rufus is monologuing, reading through all the books in the library over Crocus, and it's really cool in concept because it's this guy whose powers memories, got this massive array of magics that he's potentially never heard of or seen, and he ends up reading these books so he can learn about them, and then adds that to his arsenal. With how Viernez worked, you could just read a history book. You could read about legends within the magic world and just spawn them back into reality, make a complete replica. And it'd be really cool to see a couple other characters that just existed at some point. Because you could have characters super high level, like characters that are relatively relevant now, like good Spriggan tier people, upper Spriggan tier people, and just be like, you know, they were very powerful, but they died centuries. You know, X, Y, or Z reason. Maybe one try to fight a dragon god. You could have a character like that. I think that would be a really cool character. X character, Mega Prodigy, no other wizard could match them in combat, and then you have all this stuff, and then they went to go try and do the 100 Years quest, and they completely shit stomped. And stuff like that would be really cool. I would love that. I'd really like it too, just as a side thing. I think it'd be really cool if you could have that, and it'd be some of the people that went on the 100 Years quest didn't go to Artful round, and you have somebody that Viernes knows about because they went to Viernes relatively early and then got killed, and that's why you don't have any impact of them to where already, because everybody that goes there, or maybe the only person that was there got killed. But it was in a way that where Viernes can learn about it. And that's the thing about Viernes. Viernes has such cool world potential aspects that he can on these characters. It's kind of like how Oldio had it with his subjugation summon people. And like those dudes though were people that he could handle, because those were obviously guys that still were strong. Really, when we look at it now, aren't big deals. They're legends, human capability on magic, great fighters, but it's nothing when it, like, you know, mega high-end wizards. And it'd be really cool if Viernes just learns about him and then spawns him like that. Or if he does older characters, I would really like it if Mishima did something where it's like, something I read about your tale in Sirius Island and stuff with Fairy Tale, and they fought Grimoire Heart. I really liked that I read in this story. The humans that I found the most intriguing, and he spawned like Hades, Zancro, and hey, I'm trying to think of another. I want to pick specifically a person who died, not anything else. Maybe Zoldio, I don't know. But like takes them and just fuses them into one character, makes this weird amalgamate. Because that would be really cool for Viernes. Maybe Viernes' thing, because that's another thing we have. This video will be long, and I'm sorry, because there's a lot of stuff. Viernes, like, the thing that was frustrating to me about his character is we really didn't get to learn about his character. Each of their dragon gods have been very distinctive in their personalities and differences between each of them. Brickphobia used to be a very hostile dragon, then formed, and he's more of a pacifist. Selene, in a lot of ways, was a hard antagonist. I want to say, not like hard, nothing in like a villain really, because like everybody apparently like would come to her and she'd defend herself because she didn't. It makes sense of why Selene can say like, I didn't seek anybody out, because if she was seeking me out, she'd teleport right in front. And everywhere that she went, as far as we know, wasn't ruined. Because I mean, the only one we know that we saw in disarray was Ellen stopped. But regardless, she likes humans. She wants to live like a human. Finds them charming. Obviously, Ignia wants like a dragon world and dragon nation, but he seems to like humans. Not humans. I think Ignia likes individual. I think he's kind of like Natsu, but like where Natsu looked as individual, Ignia just sees it as like, I see you have the personality of value, but you're stuck as a human. How about we make anyone live for centuries and gain crazy powers? I mean, it's an offer. I would join. But either way, it's something. Then we get to. I mean, with Dogremag, I did like how Dogremag was like this kind of like chuckler. Like he seemed to be very entertained by a lot of things. He was almost kind of like this big happy brawler. He just wanted to just stretch his arms and legs out and fight. And I really liked his interactions with the. And then Alderon is just like, he's just a classic angry anti-human dragon. He just loves eating humans, loves himself, and he's very evil. With Viernes, we didn't really get anything that really pertained to his character. I think it'd be really cool if he didn't like humans individually, but he liked humans as a concept. To him, it's more of like characters on a television. He's like, oh man, this person I hear about is really neat. but then maybe he meets them in real life, and it's like, oh, you're nothing like your story and your tale, and they find out that like maybe they're a fraud or something. And it's something like because he like, oh well, whatever, this is lame, this ruined my story, I don't care, and then just gets rid of it. I think that would be really cool. Or maybe he like uses alchemy to alter a bit more of his image. I think that would be really cool too. It's like if there were a couple of characters in history of this different, but then like imagine Ivan used to be a lot nicer of a person, but like rumors got around that somehow got to Garnez, person he thought was like, wow, that guy's a piece of shit. I can't believe he would be this horrible. And then he goes to meet him and he's like, oh well, this guy's not so well, that's disappointing. Let me use alchemy and make him a bad person. I think that would be neat. Just like 2 or 3 people, I think it would be really funny to have just like on a reread, just knowing like, man, you got the short end of the stick just from this dude. Because stuff like that, I just think, but I would really love that. I love the idea of like he would read about humans, find them interesting characters, make copies of them, but he only them is like, oh yeah, they're cool, they're entertaining, like they're just something to kind of like ice them. Like literally the idea of like kind of not how like Zareth looked at it as like a game, but in more like you're analyzing a tale of it. And you're just kind of talking about it, and then when you're done talking, you're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, there's another. I think that'd be really cool. It's something that I've been mad about more so, I think, than the fight, because the fight could have happened and the same way that it did, and if we had cool character content to Garnez up until then, I'd be much happier. Like the fight is like, damn, the fight was pretty short. He got kind of ran over. But it was more so to me that it just felt like he just was a summoned boss and had no personality. Nothing going to. That's more so what I was mad. So I'm hoping the fact that he's back now, we're seeing something. Because it'd be cool. It's like if he like the Toxton, they're just creations he made because he's like became very paranoid back in Loki. There's so much stuff for him. I've been mad about that mission. But like at the time, we don't know because probably we'll do something with him. And he's now a character that we don't really know too much about. Big, so maybe that was the value there. And after that point, we're just seeing the conversation go between people with Paragon Castle and just talking about what's happening. Very happy as a side note. Very happy as a side note to see Scullion after years. Scullion just did one corner panel, hanging out next to Haku, by the way, hanging out next to Haku. We're just seeing members of Diablos, and I'm very happy that we got confirmation too that they're strong clearly, but Selene and them at full power, it's like, what are they gonna? Because we've known for a while that the Diablos are at where they're at. Eorg was stronger than Suzaku. Eorg should have been far stronger than Dragon Slayer. And from what they're saying is like the Selene is even more powerful than she was even before. So now we're actually see them in their full flex. They're actually kind of really pushing everything, trying to get everything. Same thing with Mercphobia. We have Caramel just saying way more powerful. Probably the first time too that she's ever even seen him, right? But two, we also have a part that I was a little confused about for like, I want to say and I don't know if anybody else is confused about it. I doubt it. I think it's visually explained without showing it in the manga. Not visually, but we have Mad Mole look outside, and outside of their guild they see this giant Lacrima like mountains, and from how it's described, because I was wondering, it's like, is that just it? Like they just have this giant Lacrima mountain and they have to guard it and to keep the sign off? But no, the way that it's told to us from Ignia is that there are roots from the Dogre Labyrinth all over the continent. There's probably a massive amount spread all throughout the continent. Just these massive big crystal spikes shooting like the gem out of the ground, all going to a certain center. I would imagine you have to do something about the center point, but the thing that I think is really cool is his plan isn't like, it's not like Face. This could go off and go be active for a while, and it's not going to. If this succeeds, we automatically. This is going to be like succeeds, and it's a problem. No, I'm not going to stop over. But it's done in such a hype way that I'm wondering what the solution is going to be for all the characters. Because I would assume, unless it's some like super hard like dragon locker mode, like god locker mode, which would make sense if this was like the crystal from Joker Mag that you would need to be at like the Dark Dragon Knights at full power to destroy this. So really, as far as we know, they're the only the only other people say like, yeah, these guys maybe are the Mario system. So the only people is that should be capable of stuff. But and logically, I would assume probably tens of thousands place, and you probably also have back to Aragon Castle, and I feel like that's like a. So we have now Dogromag's Labyrinth. Now we have a direct explanation. Because it's just activate. Also could. Now, what's funny is there's a lot of stuff in this chapter and a couple chapters that have been that I've had spot on. Akalogi's arm thing, ears. Like I'm surprised. I'm not going to be surprised if we get a point where Natsu has Seraph's pendant that he left when sitting there on the floor, and we don't know what happened to. I think it would make sense if Natsu had it, but the whole bit about activating the Dragon Gods is because it's going to be what makes me think of what's that plot line going to be. Because are we going to have to fight each of them individually, one on group? Because I've seen some people talking about it, and it's like the matchups people hate. Realistically, from what we've been shown, probably the entire Fairy Tail and the entire Diablo fight. Because we did the only real difference that we had for Viernes is we had some of the Sabretooth members in July. I would say like the Rogue, Yukino's fairly, Yukino doesn't seem really like power, but really like Prodigy. And she's a summoner that I have at least. So, not a lot of craziness in terms of extra magic outside of the main added to Natsu. And now if you add all of Diablos, that should be more powerful than Natsu at the point when the fight. So I would imagine pretty much everybody. It's gonna be rough because like it doesn't seem like they're gonna be able to do anything about the Dragon Gods. I see like they could do something like if presented against like these Fair summon, but it would take like all of them to do anything about one Dragon God. That's gonna be the crazy thing. What is there? That's the part that I didn't really foresee coming of Ignia having like a way kind of just rile up all the Dragon Gods, which is really cool too. I like that once you look at it, the guy about how he destroy everything, wreck everything, he wants to create Origination. And not only does he want to do that, you see like the other Dragon Gods, like their whole things with each other, and why you don't see them active and trying anything like because they all are caught. But this is all dangerous. It's they fight to the death, but one of them wins, and but the winner's injured, then pray for the other. But with Ignia clearly wants them around. And there's the whole argument that Ignia is the strongest out of the five, which I edge out of it's got. So he could have just left him dead and really ruled. Now he decides to come back. The power back up Mercphobia, knowing Mercphobia is not really on his side. Like Celine is definitely an option. And don't know about like, but it's just really cool to see like the difference of like how he's presented and the things that he's done and how that he wants to destroy, but he also wants to create something better and stronger and grander than fantastic. Like there's a lot of depth and size to Ignis. It's been fantastic. I've been so happy about seeing that. Like just like the whole bit about him saying, you know, that he's dad is his dad. That, like really kind of hammering that whole bit where he in opposition into Natsu feels, but at the same time has the same idea. It's just a different. It's the same kind of viewpoint taken at a different angle. Because he's the way that you look at a statement like that is he's like, you know, my dad could nicest guy in the world doesn't mean I have to do it. I'm my own guy. I make my actions are my own. And when you look at stuff like this, and then you see where he's like, yeah, I love to destroy stuff. I want to wreck everything. I want to burn stuff. But also his goals are to create a new age. And that's one of the reasons too. I think it's going to be a while. I think we're gonna have to have it. Is he wants to create this setup. And it's not like once the setup happens, it's over. I think at that point, it's going to set up toward Natsu can find the ladder dimension strong enough. Because Ignia wants this world, but I think that he wants this setup as a way for Natsu to climb in strength. Bring the Dragon Gods back up to where once Natsu gets strong enough, he can 1v1 and then eventually. Because being able to defeat the Dragon Gods is not really an accomplishment from Ignia's standpoint for Natsu. Because then he's not going to be strong enough to fight him. And again, that just makes sense. So, the whole bit about him turning people into dragons is so cool. I really love the idea that he sees dragons as superior, clearly as and seek value. Some of the loyalty have to him and his cause that he's like, all right, saddle up. He does not care that you guys are human. He wants to put them at a higher state. Like somebody like Alderaan, he would laugh. This would probably disgust him. He would be completely just turned away to the idea of humans turning into dragons. He doesn't like dragon slaying magic. So it's like rewarding humans of giving them beings, the apex creatures of that world is so enticing for his character because it's not like he's just like doing a trade. It's very clear when he's talking to them that he has very strong belief in their resolve. Like he looks at them and when they don't say anything, he knows that yeah these guys got it. They know what they're doing. But his whole bit about how he wants to create this world, so cool. I love it. It sets up to the Dragon King Festival with Ferris that she's going to destroy and the dragons being for Natsu. It's going to fight for human. And I really love that. I love that these big three-way wars being set up here. But obviously, like, the thing is, like, we couldn't have the fight now. How do we get Natsu out of there? And, like, the rest of the main cast and Eleftheria's abilities pulled Natsu and got him out of that room. So, which also, too, did confirm this chapter. We see Athena, too, with him. I don't know. I still think that like Eleftheria is suspicious. Like the fact that like Athena Mark II in the body. Not proper wording and naming, but it just makes it seem like alligator. I'm still. He just one nice thing. I don't know. But Ferris ends up leaving too. She's all right, you know, the meeting's over. Get out of here and out of there and asking, you know, the age-old question, Dragon King. In Ignia's dragons, her world black magic, or humans be able to survive and that's when Ignia like whatever, it's really gonna be a problem. Be a problem. You know, our dragon world and they're all going to become dragons. They will, you guys all ready to cast aside your king. That's something you guys are still on board with. And none of them say anything. They're just already, all of them just nod their heads and are present. of these. Signara's sisters are cool. They just look like Brian looks. It's the way, not just to like his smile, but the way his eyes are in it. Just look kind of almost like perverse. I think it's a very, very bad look. And then Lekka just looks badass. He's got like the mask going on, and it. I'm so stoked to see what all these guys are. No, they're all. Ooh, like we're gonna. I can't. Now, this is one of the things too that I want. Is Ferris ends up bringing out her demon, and I was wondering a few things, because there was a first bit of me that like immediately thought, once I reading the chapter and she says, book of first thing Sarah, because this was always an idea that I had of like, if somebody found his books where he died and was able to switch them, the soul link, magic link, or to her rather, off of Zara, died that book. But I'm perfectly fine with it, because it goes further into the idea of magic, because as far as we know, Seraph didn't invent living magic was already a taboo, so it like the rules on it should have been long established, where Seraph was we just have that Seraph should have invented books, as Seraph invented the book style of living magic. I would assume that you can I mean, we have the whole bit with Lullaby. Lullaby is not a book, it is a flute. So I would assume that you can use living magic on relatively any this freaking thing. I'm gonna find a lock for this at some point. Actually, a lock might work, like a really cheap little lock. I'm gonna look into that. But she ends up bringing out her demons, right? Like I said, I'm trying to make sure I don't lose my thought. This is cool because it shows the idea of like somebody who's following this path is able to do the same for them, because it makes sense of somebody who is following in Zeraf's teaching and is gifted in black magic to eventually get to the of creating life. This is a huge deal though, just because it is one of the pinnacles of magic. She has created, and these guys look cool. These guys all look pretty cool. Just going off their designs, because I want to talk about them. I like the dragon god in the chapter. I love seeing all of them back. I'm hoping here happen. I'm stoked for that. The art with them is absolutely fantastic as well. But this is what I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot to unpack in this one picture. There's so much to like get out of this one. So first off, let's talk about just the ones that I don't have as much. So first of all, we'll talk about this bird guy. We'll see as things change. I like this bird guy. He looks cool. He's probably my least favorite out of these ones, I want to say. I want to say that he's just looks new. He doesn't look like the level of villain that he is. The rest of these guys have a difference. I think this is going to be the first guy to lose, just guessing, because his design looks like it's been given the least amount, I want to say, flair to it. He looks cool, but he looks the least. You have the girl. The girl looks. I don't think that anything really telling about her that I can top of my head. Like maybe there's something about her that I'm just not. I wonder about all their tattoo marks, because I don't think that they're all going to be just in. I'd really like to believe that they're going to have to do whatever this is. And this is something that I've had as an for a while. Not in this manner, but it was more so of like, if Mishima ever wanted to do something with Ivan again, the way that you would get Ivan jogged up to level things is you could have him just do a bunch of, bring all the different experiments and augments and the sacrificial buffs. Like he's got a dragon lacrima, he's been enhanced Hell's Core, maybe he's got some weird boot brains, like some augmented version of lines that Brain had, and it has like double-edged magic personality. Like he just does anything for power, and that's how he's able to kind of just increase everything. But nah, These guys, though, I think that they've got something going on with all these marks. I don't think these tattoos are just for no reason. Yeah, this girl looks cool. I don't think there's anything kind of crazy about her, but it is what it is. And then this demon butler. The demon butler looks cool. I imagine he's gonna be like one of those characters that looks non-intimidating, because he's definitely the least intimidating out of here, unless you count the hot girl. But he looks more like he's gonna be a more dark. Like, the only guy I would say is probably gonna be more, maybe, is, if I had to guess, just based off of I feel like how the tides go, is going to be this man in the middle, who I'll talk about last. But yeah, the butler dude looks cool. I like him. I think he looks neat. Nothing crazy. The dude at the end of the, sorry, I guess the left. Dude on the left, the really big guy. He looks cool, but his design would be the least interesting, potentially, if it weren't for the tattoo. Because he has very strikingly similar tattoo designs to Ignia. And the thing is, in Ignia's actual form, I assume like the black lines, you know, the parts on his chest and stuff, I assume that's like his dragon pattern. And so you'd have something like this, where these guys end up tattooing his dragon pattern into their bodies, and then you see like the triangles and bits and stuff added as like further decoration into like the style of a tribe maybe that worshipped Ignia. And that's why Ignia in his human form has all these additional tattoos, not just the ones that he has in his dragon form. And that makes me think that like some of these guys maybe are made from magic, like the regular, maybe some of these guys are made from corpses. So that again at the end. But other one is this dude with the black hair. What's funny is this dude with the black hair, he was probably, in my opinion, I would say the least interesting when I first saw the panel, and then just further inspection as I look at him, he gets more and more interesting. For one, I like the lines on his face. Got like the cool lines on his face. He's got like the, I don't know what does like clothing style that is, but that like tight neck garb with like a band or like a metal chain, not a chain, metal kind of thing around it, a throat guard or something, or it's just like a cool line. And then he actually looks like a Stern Ritter, which I think is pretty cool. Like, he looks like he just, like, he saw how things were going to the 1,000-Year Blood War once the main characters came back and the music started playing. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And then he left. And then, you know, maybe he had got down in his luck and he needed money because he didn't have a villain career anymore. Ferris is like, listen, I have an experiment, but I need repost. Next thing he knows, wakes up, he's here. But he has this cool pendant that it kind of looks like one of this like in the Stern Ritter vein. That is their Stern Ritter medallion. I don't remember exactly what it's. He's got like again the outfit for it. It's really cool looking. But I assume this is his just because I don't think the bird dude. But it looks like that weapon that is there is like a snake sword. I'm hoping that's his. He has this. I don't want it to be a katana. I'm hoping it's more like a saber. I want it to be like this long. And the last one to talk about. Oh my, I had my gain turned down. I'm sorry, guys. I've had my gain turned down this whole time. I apologize. I massively apologize for things. Hopefully you've turned me up slightly for this, but we will see. And I'm glad I figured I'd do it before I get to like one of the main things I want to talk about of this. Is this man in the middle? That is clearly Zero. Like, not only does he have the hair, he's got the forehead, he's got the nose, he's got the eyes, he's got like the weird fur spiraling pattern. Like, this is absolutely him. This is 100% him. And another thing is like, he has the tattoo marks. His look more like kind of like how Brain's were. Like, he has like the whole seals on him. Whereas like the bird dude looks like his might just be tattoos, like the big dude. But Brain's definitely just because the fact that you have the lines come out and they don't complete, they just kind of like go to a spot. That tells me more about it. Maybe that's going to be his thing. Is he undoes it and he becomes. Actually, that'd be really cool. It's like it's reverse, where Zero is like the base one, and then his Aetherius he becomes Brain. Because in his Aetherius, the more intelligent side, it flips like, oh yeah, I'm this powerful here, but when I go into my Ethereus, my physical, I am able to convert that power into, curse, that physical strength into cursed energy. And then at that point, he is like this weird monster, like kind of brain, and he spawns multiple of these regular zeros or something. That'd be cool. That'd be badass. I just really like the idea of it's reversed. I assume it'll be a thing like where these guys lose and these lines go down, or maybe it's like a him thing and it's like a limiter he undoes himself. But yeah, there's now going to be this three-way big war for everything. Everything is coming down to the Dragon King Festival. I'm guessing that Ferris is going to have a couple other demons besides just this 6. I assume that she's going to have some form of E&D equivalent. It'd be strange if she didn't think of having some super masterpiece. And this is the Racion 6, essentially. It's the Racion 6, German for 6, which is another reason why, like, I wonder, it's like Bleach reference with this guy. But she's got to have more. I mean, she's got to have more demons. Like, in true Racion 6 fashion, like, they got to keep adding people, like, midway. There's never really 6. It's usually, like, 7 or 8. Yeah, these guys are cool. I really like these designs. Like, we didn't get anything about them in terms of obviously their personality in this chapter. We just got, seeing them. I can't like any of their designs more than Zero's. Like, Zero is, it's crazy to think about. And this is the thing I'm gonna end, like, kind of on the video. Not like end. We'll kind of do like a little hype summary. But like, seeing the Dragon Gods come back, like Viernes and Alderaan. Obviously with Viernes, I'm excited to see him hopefully achieve more this time, do more, see more of his character. Alderaan, I'm happy to see him just come back. I really liked Alderaan. I thought he was a lot of fun. I'm happy to see him here. But it's like, man, Alderaan, like, I can hype him up again. It's been years. He's been dead. Zero, realistically, has been dead for a long time. A long time. What, like, almost 20 years he's been defeated, because you can't really count him in Tartaros. It was just in the Racion 6 arc. So Zero back now is crazy. And I think too, it makes a lot of sense if you have a, again, a Therius made demon, something way more capable than what they were doing with Hell's Core, and you do it with a person who's Zero, because Zero was already like a pretty, I wouldn't say Zero was at least middle Wizard Saint tier, if not like starting to get into that upper Wizard Saint level. Like, it's definitely like, you have like, Mardgeir is above him, and then you have Hades, and then Zero. But Zero is still really powerful, and Zero, unlike obviously Mardgeir, is an Aetherius. Hades is this 100-plus-year-old, very talented dark wizard who had, augmented himself with essentially infinite stamina and dark magic. Whereas Zero, as far as we know, is everything just off of his own innate strength. So it's like you take that capability, you further augment it through demon powers, and from somebody who, instead of creating thousands, is working on a handful of specifics, is able to probably do more. We'll see. I'm hoping he's not going to be the measuring stick. I don't think so, just because he's in the middle. If he was on the side, something like how Aragorn was when the Racion 6 came back in the anime, because like those are the signs, like, in terms of importance. But like, he's standing in the middle. And that's another reason I think the Bird Dude's probably gonna go. The big dude, like the big dude to me, and this is another thing. This is gonna be one of the last things I say. The big dude makes me think, oh yeah, he's just gonna be a powerful big guy, but oh, he's got like this physical identifier of something. Why is that? I'm wondering too if he is a fully original Aetherius, or I'm gonna keep calling Aetherius, I guess, until we find out, or if he is something like where I assume with Zero that he is made with a body of another person instead. Oh, I had a piece of plastic. I thought it was a bug. I was like, what was on my neck? Oh, it's from my headphones. My little bits of my headphones are starting to break. I gotta buy new ones. Was he made using, like, what if he was made from some of the demons from Tartaros, like, combined into one being? Because he kind of looks a little bit like Torofusa. I could see it, like he's got like the spikes that kind of also look like a shark fin, and then he kind of has the patterns of Jackal on his hands. But we'll see. We don't have a great look at all these guys. And if you look at his feet too, this is another thing. Actually, real fast. This is something I actually just noticed. If you look at his foot, The one thing visible but his foot, he has the rings like Franmoth. So I wonder about that. Interesting, just as an extra thing. But yeah, I really love this chapter. This was amazing. I mean, like Ignea's arc has been nothing but ramped up craziness. I've been loving it. Like, every single moment I think that's happened since, I mean, honestly, since like we got to that saloon has been crazy. It's just been nonstop wild stuff getting popped up, and Ignea just going insane with like adding new things into the story, and then just now we got Zero seemingly back, and we got a bunch of new extra characters. Oh, that's the thing I forgot to mention. Because it's really cool that we have a setup for Natsu as a Dragon Slayer. But now we have demons ongoing protagonist or antagonist for Gray. The Gray agenda is about to make a swing. But not only that, and I'm actually so glad if you made it to the end of this video, like you're getting into this is some deep Rax lore. This is a long ongoing thing. I was literally in my recent notes of like videos I was planning, and this is one that I actually was like about to start doing, was the fall off of Mira Jane. And now she has an actual way to make a comeback. Like, that is actually crazy. Because with before, like, you can really, like, I'll go into, like, and I still plan on doing a video because now there's the potential for her to come back, and I think that's going to be more fun to talk about. But you look at it, it's like she eventually, like, she hits a wall. There's only so many demons that she could get, and unless she, seemingly invents new techniques and, like, things that, like, are breakthrough, I would assume, with Takeover, she can't really get that much more powerful. And there's also like the thing that we still don't have confirmation on is that did she get to keep any of the Tardros souls after Zeref died, or did they cease existing? We don't know that though. I think it makes sense either way. Like, you could say like, oh, when Zeref died, the souls, because they were linked to him and they're created by him, they just fizzle out. Or you could say like, oh, well, once Mira Jane took them, the living magic link went to her and instead of Stinged Zeref. And then you could be like, okay, well, it's connected to the souls. That's why if she runs out of magic, like, she doesn't just lose the soul, it just dissipates. It's like it's connected to her soul. Something that's just really cool. I'm actually happy about that, because like it will finally get me out of like the fact that like whenever people talk about Mira Jane and they try and like say that she can beat Gray, I'm like, no. And you just go into the reality, like Mira Jane has not been like strength wise as capable to keep up since Alvarez. And though I like Mira Jane, I'm very realistic about that. And now she actually has a way to make that return and to climb the ladder again, because she has a couple people here. She's got a couple people here that she can eat. And the thing is too, all of these guys are open for opponents. Like, when you look at all the characters, I would assume that we're gonna have like a couple people that are going to be in like a three-way fight. I would imagine it's gonna be mostly one-on-ones for the most part with like members of the main cast and like any other main cast members that come in. I really like the idea though, we're gonna get some like, I want at least one 1v1 fight that is a member of Ferris's crew of the Erasion Sex and a member of Fire and Flame's crew. I would love that. I doubt, out of all of them though, I doubt any of them could beat Wed. I would be surprised if any of them could fight Wed. You have a swordsman here, but I mean, like, realistically, I don't know. I feel like there's no way that he's gonna, like, you could say like he's gonna be comparable somewhat to Suzaku maybe, but like, as far as we know, Wed isn't capping when he said that he was the strongest swordsman on the continent, the best with the sword, so I assume that he's over Suzaku. And I just don't see this guy being able to fight Wed. Like, if he fights Wed, I assume that he's going to get destroyed. Maybe he'll be a Wed hype machine. I don't want that, actually. I like this guy. He's cool. Get rid of the bird guy. The bird guy is neat, but he can go. If anybody has to go, like, it's like he's like their Raj. And though I like Raj somewhat, it makes sense why he'd be the first to go. I know I said this was the last thing. I just says one more added thing. I'm hoping Raj still gets to be in the plan. That'd be so embarrassing if everybody else gets to morph and evolve into a dragon and he's left behind because he got his ass beat before the plan started and he just laid there like unconscious. Well, no, because he said he thought things are really interesting, so he's definitely probably back up. Like he has to be like on his way, maybe just hobbling there or looking for a carriage ride to go back into the base. Because I mean, like if they already accepted him, there's no way that they just I think kick him out. I don't think Ignia seems to be that guy, unless you like turned against him. I don't imagine he would just ash some of his dudes and just kill them. If I had to guess, but I could be wrong. But anyway. I know this was a long video. There's, like I said, this was a setup chapter that like set up so many things, and it's so many crazy things happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if I missed something. Like there's just so much that like is really established and to really set out. And I wanted to do like go into the chapter like right when it came out, like a half hour after. I'm glad I sat on it for a little bit because there's a lot in this chapter that just really I think needed to be looked at and to really talked about. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, but for the like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate every subscribe. Thank you all for listening. Bye.